Hi there, I'm John Fry and this is just a very quick little video to get you up to speed with recording in super slow motion on this, the Sony FS700. So let's say you've just picked it up and you've rented it from a lovely place like this and you want to get down to shooting super slow motion very quickly without the hassle of going through all the menus and bits and pieces. And you can. In general, the camera is set up to record start trigger, which is you hit the record button and then you record, I think it's 8 seconds of video at super slow-mo, whichever setting you set it at. You don't have to go into the menu to play with that because there's the very handy S&Q button here. If you press that, it goes straight into super slow motion, and then if you press and hold it, you get the option to change your frames per second. So you can actually dial it up from if you're in the 50 Hertz mode, as we are here in the UK for PAL, you've got the option of 100, 200, 400 or 800 frames per second. If you're in the US, you'll have the variants of that, 240, 480 and 960 frames per second, I believe. So you can access that immediately from the S&Q button on the side there, which is really handy. That means you can get straight down to shooting super slow motion. All you've got to do is make sure your exposure's set properly. Remember, you lose a stop or two of light when you go into super slow-mo. There we are, that's basically how to do it. Now, a little bit more detail on that. Let's say you wanted to record with the very handy end trigger rather than start trigger. Or the half and half mode, which is halfway between the two. End trigger means basically it's recording the 8 seconds prior to pressing the record button. So if you're in a situation where something's going to happen, you're not quite sure when, which could happen fairly often with slow motion, you can set it to that, and then once that's happened, you then press the record button, and it will record its cached video up to that point. So that's really cool. So if you want to set that, or in fact if you want to change you can change what the S&Q button does. Say you wanted to shoot fast motion or time-lapse stuff, you can set it to that as well. So it depends how you set up the button as to which mode it goes into when you press it, but generally it's at super slow motion as default. So let's just go into the menu here and you can see what I mean. So menu, it's under the camera set. Right at the bottom, slow and quick, super slow motion, and you've got the option of, you can change your record format and your frame rate there, or start, end, or end trigger half. So I tend to keep it on start trigger because that's what I've been doing mostly recently, but it is dependent on what you're going to do, and then execute that to make sure it's sort of saved it, and then you're straight into the super slow motion thing. If you want to change what the button does, that's menu, right down to the bottom to others, and near the top of that is S&Q button setting. At the moment it's on super slow motion. You can do it to S&Q motion, which is where you set up your time lapse, 1 frame a second, 2 frames a second, 1 frame a minute, all those sort of things for doing those lovely sky movement shots, or both. And the both is actually quite useful because, let's get out of the menu now. Then when you press the button, you go firstly into S&Q motion for your time lapse, you press it again and you go into super slow. So you've got both those options from the press of a button. And of course you can change your frame rate using the wheel at the side there in both modes. Press it again and it goes off. You can see all those options there. Quite a useful button there. Thank you very much for including that, Mr. Sony S&Q. And there we are, that's how to do very quick and easy super slow motion with the FS700 out of the box.